Hey, what's going on, guys? This is JP.
This is the Bug.
This is JC.
This is Flash.
This is Denny Hendricks.
And you're listening to...
And you are listening to...
And you're listening to...
And you're listening to the Run and Gun Podcast.
All right, so what's going on, folks? Welcome to another episode of the Run and Gun Podcast. Tonight, it's me, JPeeps, and also I've got with me Flash. So, Flash, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I think it's going to be a great night to talk about sports.
Awesome. So, one thing that I want to first hit on here. Actually, let me check on something real quick just to be 100% certain about my source. Okay. All right. So the first thing I got to hit on is a pretty interesting one. So there's another podcast out there called Double Fries, No Slaw, sponsored by Guthrie's. It's put on by Freddie Stevenson, who played football at Florida State and is a Polk County native. And him and a couple of his fellow alumni from Florida State helped put on this show each week. They had one earlier tonight as well. And they hit on the same thing that this ESPN article hit on. And that is, they're in a deep, deep hole, and that's the title of it. And it talks about, the unraveling of Florida State football over the past 6 years. And a lot of people look at it from the outside, like you and me as fans, and say, golly, what happened to Florida State? Like, why is Florida State this bad? What happened? You know what I mean?
Definitely. It was just so unexpected to see him just first started off with having a weaker O-line, and all of a sudden just the whole program it was practically collapsed.
Honestly, I'm gonna tell you now, it's worse than what we thought. See, here's the thing that I'm listening to these podcasts, like Freddie Stevenson and his guys. They did a podcast with Kirk Herbstreit, and Herbstreit even mentioned, there were problems here and there and stuff, and Freddie Stevenson even mentioned, about how 2013 had dogs, but 2014 had the better talent, but the accountability factor wasn't really there. So the coaches had to make practices even more difficult, and it was more grueling during training camp and stuff. Honestly, personally with me, I say based off of what I saw and what I had heard, because my sister was at Florida State at the time, working on her master's. And she had friends that were still in Tallahassee too, that worked close to the football program, that were Gold girls. And these are the girls that help out with putting together stuff, making sure everything is set up and stuff, making sure press conferences are set up properly and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they had heard about, what was unraveling and stuff about these rumblings between Jimbo and the boosters and stuff. And then I thought nothing of it, because I was like, well, you know what? He's winning. It'll be fine. Him winning will take care of itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
And so what happens from there is, this ESPN article hits right on it. Jimbo wanted a football-only facility, and Stan Wilcox and John Thrasher and all these guys did not want to help him out and do what Jimbo wanted. And a lot of people point to it and say, if they had done this, this would have gone on differently, and if they had done this, this would have gone on differently. I personally look at this, and I listen to the former players like Freddie Stevenson and Everett Dawkins, and even who was another guy they had on tonight? I forget his name. I'm so sorry for forgetting his name. But like they had 3 former players on. Freddie Stevenson, Everett Dawkins were 2 of the 3. And they're talking about, Jimbo wanted to stay in Tallahassee. Jimbo was good to the Tallahassee community. The Tallahassee community was good to Jimbo. They embraced him and stuff. But it was just the power struggle within the program. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like it hits differently when you kind of look at it like that, because when you look at other powerful programs, like if you think about, for instance, Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson, are these coaches at Clemson, like, Ryan Day, Nick Saban, and Dabo, are they having trouble? Are they having some type of power struggle with their ADs? You know what I mean?
No, because they're doing a damn good job of their system.
Exactly. And the crazy thing about it is, too,
I am just disbelief about that Jimbo's actually had trouble after having some good years at FSU, like some really good years, which makes no sense.
And you see, here's the thing about that. The man had just won a national championship, and like he waited until he won a championship to start asking about these things. But see, I'm gonna hit on that in a little bit. But you see, here's the other thing. Like, you should give him what he wants. He just brought you a national championship. And Florida State football is a brand that brings a lot of money to that university and to the Tallahassee community. Right?
Yeah, definitely. That is the show of Tallahassee.
Well,
at the time being,
right, go on.
Well, I'm saying that is the show of Tallahassee. I mean, and also, and probably at the time being, maybe the show of Florida too, because UF at the time was struggling and all that.
Exactly.
USF and UCF and all those schools, they're just more comparable to FSU's football program. Like, that was the program at the time.
Exactly. And see, the other thing that I didn't know was, like, Florida State has an indoor facility next to their practice football fields. They have an indoor practice football facility. And come to find out, that indoor facility was supposed to be put into place and done back in 2009. They didn't get it until 2013. So like that, they were so far behind with certain stuff. Like they didn't. And then now I'm seeing where like certain players are saying like, yeah, I knew Jimbo was going to leave and stuff after 2017. Like, and all this stuff. And then like guys came in there thinking like, you know what, like it's about me and not we, which is a problem with our generation kids, to be honest with you, Aja or Flash.
Definitely.
And
we've seen it all the time, all the way from high school. We saw it now. We're seeing it in the league.
Oh, definitely.
It's why I'm certain like old school minded players are doing better than some of these new people.
Exactly.
Not to say like some of the new people don't have it. There's definitely some new people that have it. And it's the work speaks for himself.
Right, exactly. And if you think back to last week when we talked about, how there's this mass exodus at Florida State of players and stuff, and how like certain guys were opting out and they got injured and stuff and all this, and I'm just thinking to myself like, my gosh, like what is going on? So then, I'm hearing Herbstreit talk about this. And then I see this article and stuff like, I'm seeing what's being said and what really went on and stuff. And all of it's crazy. Like even like this article even highlights, Jameis Winston and his sexual assault, suspected issues that went on out with the baseball team, and then the shoplifting and his, derogatory jokes that he uttered in the student union and stuff. Like it's all of that. And then even too, the other thing is like that a lot of people don't know, based off of what I finally found out, that 2014 team, they were just so coach led that Jimbo had to just say, you know what? Like when they got to that semifinal game against Oregon, it was, he told them, look, if you don't get it together and you guys, if you stop playing, if you play the way you played all season, Oregon's going to blow you out. And what happened?
well, history speaks for itself there. Oregon took care of them.
Exactly.
And it was not a pretty sight to see.
Exactly. And I think like that 2014 season was to most the beginning of the end. And it kind of like factored in and spread and it bled into the next season and then the next season after that. Like, and see, the thing about it is at that point, Jimbo warned the administration, Clemson is building a national powerhouse. Clemson's going to be a problem here soon. We need to upgrade our facilities so that way Clemson doesn't really come within grasp of touching us, you know?
Look what happened.
Exactly.
Clemson looks practically untouchable at this point, besides their injuries.
Exactly.
Especially in the ACC.
Exactly. And Lord knows what's going to happen this weekend when Florida State and Clemson get together. It's ironic, the week of Florida State and Clemson, all of this stuff has come out.
Well, question is, for this weekend, is Trevor Lawrence even playing?
You know what? I really don't even think it even matters. I don't know what's going to save Florida State.
I mean, if Trevor Lawrence plays or not, I mean, it's going to determine how bad the blowout is.
Oh, definitely. And see, now that you mentioned Clemson and bring Clemson into this, funny story about that. So I'm listening to the podcast that Freddie Stevenson and his guys do, and he mentioned how, you know, Florida State up to one point actually scared Clemson. Like, even the year Clemson went to the playoff and played Alabama the first time in 2015, when Florida State came to Clemson, Clemson felt like there was no way that they could beat Florida State. They were afraid of Florida State. Even though they won the game by 10, they were afraid of Florida State up and going into that game. Because that was the big talk was, you know, we can't beat Florida State. We can't do this. But they get past Florida State, and then like the next year, they come to Tallahassee and they win again off of a bad call, and then go on to win the national championship. And we're looking at this, and that propelled Clemson to another level. That just officially right there put Clemson above Florida State.
Definitely.
And that's where you kind of saw the changing of the guard in the ACC. Because I'm going to be honest, for a while, like if it wasn't Florida State, it was going to be, you know, a Virginia Tech or a Georgia Tech coming out of the Coastal winning it. But you knew that those teams weren't going to eventually overtake Florida State in the ACC as like the top dog.
They weren't.
They weren't at all. Exactly.
You cannot even debate it whatsoever.
Right. Like that wasn't the long-term thing for the ACC. But Clemson came along, and so did Dabo Swinney, and they had the right formula, you know? And that's just a piece of how this is all has unfolded and stuff. Like, you know, I'm gonna be real with you, man. Like you got to read the article in order to really see how this thing just ultimately unfolds. And my gosh, like this list of quarterbacks that had signed with Florida State that either got dismissed or never started a game, it's so lengthy, ranging from 2013 to 2019. Like you listen to this. You know, John Franklin transferred. Where did he go? He went to Auburn and then didn't really play much there. Now he's a defensive back, I think, on the Bucks practice squad. JJ Constantino. He left the program with 1 year eligibility remaining. DeAndre Francois dismissed. DeAndre Johnson dismissed. Malik Henry dismissed. Bailey Hockman transferred to, I believe, NC State. James Blackman, he's opted out of the 2020 season, and he's planning to transfer. They didn't sign any quarterbacks in 2018 or 2019. It's a mess, man.
That does not sound very nice at all for a program.
Exactly. Exactly.
But you want to know what's still funny? They're still better than USF.
Yeah, that's true.
But that's another day to talk about.
That's true.
I think that's
It's crazy though, when you think about it. Like you would think a team with 3 Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks would not have this much instability at the quarterback position.
definitely not. I believe in Mike Norvell as an FSU fan. You should believe in him too.
Oh yeah,
I
definitely.
think I think he'll turn around the program, but I think the FSU administration needs to do better
They do.
because, like, especially if your team has won a national championship and you want to continue being the best, you got to continue to push forward to be the best.
Exactly. Of course. And I'll be the first to say, it's not going to be a 1-year fix. 2020 is the obvious show of that. 2021 might not be that great. 2022, who knows? We'll see. But I know it's not going to be like a 1 or 2 year fix. Like, we don't know when this thing is going to be fixed, but they need to give Mike Norvell some time to recruit his type of guys and get his type of guys in there. I think that, I thought the win over number 5 UNC would have helped Florida State this year, but it obviously didn't. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. From there, going into next season. So
definitely.
Hey, look, we'll see. Florida State's got a lot of young guys right now on their team. So hopefully, with 1 year of experience under the belt, a lot of those young guys mature. So, I mean, we'll see where it goes from here, but I'm definitely rooting for Mike Norvell. And then after seeing this article and stuff, it's just, it's so messy that I'm ready to see one of these coaches bust through. I'm ready to see Mike Norvell bust through and kind of, get this thing back on track for Florida State.
It's going to take time, but I think he could do it.
Oh, definitely. And with that, we're going to continue on with the NCAA news. So let me ask you this. What would a win over Ohio State do for Indiana?
Put them up in the top 5.
So do you think that they'd be playoff material if they got in?
Actually, maybe I should. I don't know. Indiana has not had a test yet.
That's true. This is going to be Indiana's first test.
I mean, maybe I should hold the brakes on saying top 5, but I do think Indiana is going to give Ohio State some hell, definitely. We've seen Ohio State in the past choke some games they should have won.
That's true, like the Purdue game.
Definitely. Or even Iowa State they lost to the other year, I think.
I think it's Iowa. Probably.
It was Iowa?
Probably Iowa, because Iowa State's in the Big 12.
Okay, yeah. No. It was Iowa State. They were playing against Big 12. I remember.
Oh.
That game was nuts.
I'll have to go back and look at that. Another thing.
But yeah.
Go on.
This is like a trap game for Ohio State. They can't just. I think they know not to sleep on Indiana. Oh. Indiana has already been proving themselves to be the second best team in the Big Ten.
Oh, of course. I see this game being hyped up like how we're doing it right now with Ohio State. Definitely. And then Ohio State goes in there and people are questioning it, but Ohio State goes in there and handles Indiana. But I think
I could see that.
Yes, that would not surprise me. But at the same time, too, what also wouldn't surprise me is if Indiana takes this game into the fourth quarter. That would.
I kind of believe that.
All I know is one surefire thing isn't going to happen. I don't think Indiana's going to run away with this game.
No.
But
unless something bad happens, but I don't think it's happening.
True. Justin Fields is not going to go down that easily.
Justin Fields is on a mission, and we said this over and over and over. He's not going to just let this slip away just because of one bad game.
Absolutely.
By any means necessary, if I'm Justin Fields, I'm playing my ass off every game whatsoever.
Absolutely. And one other thing, we got an interesting, group of 5 game this weekend between Liberty and, not Liberty. but App State and Coastal Carolina. So I mean, like, I need to know. Like, Coastal Carolina is undefeated. App State's a one-loss team, and then even the other game too, is
Liberty.
yeah, Liberty and NC State this weekend. So here's my thing with this. I'm excited to see this. Honestly, I think Coastal Carolina might end up being one of the better group of 5 teams, but
Definitely.
I'm intrigued to see what happens with Coastal Carolina and Liberty at the end of the season. Because I'm like, let's say Coastal Carolina wins this weekend against App State. Let's say Liberty goes into Raleigh and beats NC State. We're looking at 2 undefeated teams in the group of 5 meeting here at the end of the season.
Definitely.
Like, we need to put some more respect on these guys, because I would not be surprised if one of these 2 teams ends up in a New Year's Six bowl. I know we're all talking about Cincinnati and maybe the American getting a team. Yeah, but I wouldn't overlook these teams like Coastal and Liberty, and even App State. If App State can, bounce back after one loss, I would not at all. Mm-mm.
Actually, I'm currently looking at this North Carolina State. It should be a good game against Liberty for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Because North Carolina State is not as bad as I thought they were going to be. They gave Miami a hard time.
Of course.
And they did handle FSU pretty well. So.
Exactly. My thing is, what did I say about Florida State and the rest of the ACC? The rest of the ACC, because of Florida State's setbacks and because of the rise of Clemson, the ACC, the rest of those teams in that conference are slowly closing the gap on Florida State. A lot of it has to do with Florida State's decline, but a lot of it has to do with with a lot of those ACC teams stepping up their game.
Definitely.
So, I mean,
look at Georgia Tech and Louisville this year. They've been
exactly. But you mentioned Liberty, and I got to mention this man's name because he used to coach in the SEC, and he's currently Liberty's head coach, and that's Hugh Freeze. So the year that Liberty's having, because Liberty's undefeated, they're playing against a Power 5 school this weekend. What are the chances, do you think, because South Carolina fired Will Muschamp, what are the chances of South Carolina targeting Hugh Freeze and talking him back into coming to the SEC?
It's definitely there. I mean, any coach wants to get a job in the SEC just because of the money alone and the facilities.
Exactly.
Because SEC is all about athletics.
Exactly.
They're arguably probably the best conference for athletics.
And see, here's my thing. Hugh Freeze was a thorn in everyone's side, given some issues in the SEC West. He was a thorn in people's side in the SEC West. Some years he could have won the SEC West if his team hadn't been so mentally weak at the end of the road. Now, if he lands in South Carolina, put him in that situation in the SEC East that really you just have to find a way to take down Georgia and Florida. If you do that, you're home free. What are the chances we see South Carolina back in Atlanta for the SEC championship? That would be
It's gonna take time, but it's definitely doable because I thought South Carolina actually had a solid year, but after taking out Auburn that game, I thought they were gonna be somewhat all right, pretty good for. But anyways, I think, man, I don't know, man. Florida has just been a different animal since they promoted Kyle Trask, man. I just don't know.
And speaking of Florida, Dan Mullen has claimed that Florida has not entered their final form yet. So, should we take that seriously? Because if you think about it, Florida beat Georgia by about as much as Alabama beat Georgia by. And that's kind of setting up to be the SEC championship game.
I say let's wait for the SEC championship game.
To be honest, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Let's see if they come back to bark against Alabama.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Now, see the other thing too. I listened to Urban Meyer say something. Urban Meyer said, there's a team in the SEC that can finally stand up to Alabama and probably take down Alabama, and it is Florida right now. But see, my thing is we've seen this before, where teams are expected to kind of be that challenge to Alabama, and Alabama slaps them silly. But I don't see that. I don't see that happening with this Florida team. Like, as a Dan Mullen's going to have his guys motivated, of course. But at the same time, too, it's Dan Mullen's slowly been chopping away at the tree. So, and then the other thing too, Alabama's got Jalen Waddles out with a broken leg. So, I mean,
that's like a massive hurt.
Exactly. That's what worries me. Alabama has these young receivers stepping up and stuff that are able to fill in key gaps. And then they got Devontae Smith, who's playing well. I see this is tricky for me now, because I want to say Alabama, but Florida is slowly creeping up. But I don't the whole Final Form thing. I don't know. My thing is just line up and play.
Exactly. Don't put too much pressure on the guys.
Exactly, because now, Dan Mullen, when you say enter your Final Form, you're creating bulletin board material for Alabama. And if there's one team that loves to feed off of bulletin board material, it's Alabama.
It's Alabama.
Exactly. That's the one team that will definitely use it to their advantage.
Speaking of Alabama, the Iron Bowl is 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, no, it's the next weekend.
The 28th.
Yeah, it's the next weekend.
Oh yeah, it's next weekend.
Yeah, no.
Next weekend's Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Time flew.
Hey, that's the beauty of COVID. Well, the unfortunate beauty of COVID is it's kind of made the season fly by.
SEC teams got two more games after the rival week.
Yep, because of those postponements. Because Alabama still has to play LSU.
Yeah, Texas A&M and Auburn is going to be fun.
Yeah, most definitely.
But I don't know. Do you think Auburn could? Actually, no, we should probably save this for next week. But just a thought to plan in your mind. Do you think Auburn can put up another spirited effort against Alabama like last year?
Honestly, here's what I'm going to say about that. If this game was in Auburn this year, I would say it could definitely be a challenge for Alabama. But because this game is taking place in Tuscaloosa, which is one of the harder places for Auburn to win in here recently. I think Auburn won the comeback in Tuscaloosa, but I think that's really been it for the latter part of the 2010s. I don't think Auburn can win in Tuscaloosa right now. Right now they can't. Maybe at some point later on down the road they can, but right now they can't. And that, I think that this year I got to go with Alabama, because I don't trust Bo Nix to take care of the football against Alabama's secondary. Because that's exactly. There's just certain things that you've seen through the season with Bo Nix that just make you.
I said it myself. Bo Nix is definitely overrated. But his daddy has a history, so that's
his dad has a history, and then he had a great game-winning TD pass where he won the game against Oregon, his first start. So I mean, hey, we'll see. Right now, he's got He's got a 60.7% completion rating. Last year, he had a 57% completion rating. He's got 9 touchdown passes this year to 4 interceptions. And that number is too close to me. That number is just too close to me. And then and then here's the other thing. Auburn got slapped by Georgia, 27-6.
Definitely, and that's when Bo Nix got exposed, and I said back then, he's
exactly. He
not the guy.
went 21-40, and 1 interception, no touchdowns, and then again against South Carolina, he went 24-47, and 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions against South Carolina. Like it's certain things like that I look at like that, and I think to myself, if they did that to them, what is
Alabama?
Yeah, what's Alabama going to do to them?
But at the same time though, Auburn and Alabama is its own dynamic.
Some years, I don't see this being that year.
Recent years, it has been its own dynamic. No matter how bad either school's been or whatever stratosphere they are, they're still going to be
right.
Its own dynamic. But we'll see. I think we should save this talk for next.
Oh, week. Most definitely. Well, we're going to revisit this again. We are definitely going to revisit this again.
I mean, right now when I think Auburn and Alabama, I remember that last year when Auburn's running back just knocked off the helmet off of Alabama's defender. That should be a statue for Auburn. I don't care how successful that team was. That should be just a statue.
I feel you. And a couple other things before we move on to the NBA. So you already know FAMU and Bethune-Cookman, they've opted out of the spring season in the MEAC. Yeah. So the lone standing leader in the MEAC South is North Carolina A&T. So A&T is still going to stick this thing out and play a spring football season this year in the MEAC. So I mean, I can honestly tell you now that go ahead and crown A&T the champs of the MEAC. They're going to win it. They are. They don't have much threats in the South. Like South Carolina State is good, but South Carolina State's not going to really challenge them. And then you've got who else? Who else is left? Like what? I don't even know who else is left, to be honest with you. Like who else is left to really challenge them? I just don't. Oh, well, you got North Carolina Central, which is their rivalry game. But even that's not going to really be a challenge for them. I think they're going to mop the floor with North Carolina Central. So, I mean, A&T is going to capture this last MEAC crown before they move to the Big South. But on the other end of things, with FAMU, and I'm gonna give you your baptism into Florida Classic history here, Ajay. So I need to know before I immerse you in the water. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So, as we all know, the Florida Classic was supposed to be this weekend. It was supposed to be taking place in Orlando, Florida. And all time, the series is 49-24. FAMU leads. FAMU's largest victory in the series was back in 1960. It was a 97-0 win for FAMU. And yes, this is back when running the ball was the predominant popular thing in the game. This is before passing the ball became really popular. FAMU also has a 19-game winning streak in the series, whereas Bethune-Cookman currently has a 9-game winning streak that's lasted this long. So here's the thing. I always say this was going to be the year because normally what happens 9 times out of 10, the first team that scores 30 normally wins the game, in my opinion. I think that would have been the case this year, of course. But what they've done instead was they held a virtual coaches show to allow the coaches to speak on their schools. And they talked about how there's been a challenge this season and how they're looking forward to the move to the SWAC and stuff. And it was pretty interesting. I liked it. They had a lot of former players come on and talk about their past experiences and stuff. So now I can pose this question. What is your favorite Florida Classic memory, if you have one? I don't know if you have one, Ajay. I mean, who knows?
I unfortunately do not.
You unfortunately do not have one. Dang. I was going to say, because I'm like, look, I know he probably watched it last year and was thinking to himself, like, okay, FAMU's going to win this one. But they didn't. Like, but
I mean, that was me for like the last 2 years. I was thinking,
I agree.
FAMU was going to get.
I agree, but okay. So here's where I can really like baptize you into. So I'm gonna highlight 3 of FAMU's biggest Florida Classic wins. So I'm gonna turn the clock back for you to 2005. So in 2005, FAMU had came into the game like they had lost 3 straight to Bethune-Cookman. Like I was at all 3 of those games. Like, mind you, my first Florida Classic wasn't until 1999. And FAMU had lost 2002, 2003, and 2004. Their longtime head coach, Billy Joe, had just got fired. Or not fired, but I don't want to say fired, but he left. Or not left, but he was let go. So FAMU comes in and stuff, and it's just like, all the momentum is like on Bethune-Cookman's side. And FAMU finds themselves trailing 23-10 at the half. And you're thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, here we go again. But next thing you know, they go on a rally and they tie the game up 23-23 and they send the game to overtime. And then they come out, they hold Bethune on defense and they get the ball back. And next thing you know, they kick a game-winning field goal. It's a walk-off field goal, and they finally win. They snap this 3-game losing streak. Now, that's one. Now, what are your thoughts on that before I move on to the next one?
Hell of an effort.
Fair statement.
That's all I can say. Hell of an effort.
And now,
they played their butts off. They wanted to win.
And now I'm going to turn the clock again forward to the 64th meeting between the schools in 2008. So what happens in 2008 is, it's a very big deal because Barack Obama had just got elected to be president and stuff. And so that was the big talk of the Classic. And then you had a FAMU team that a lot of people thought should have gotten into the FCS playoffs that year because they honestly would have done some damage. And then you had Bethune-Cookman come in too. That was like a 3-loss team who also was fighting to go to the playoffs, but both teams were fighting for second place. And next thing you know, like FAMU just took off on Bethune-Cookman. It was like 31-10 before everyone really got like situated it like for what was going on. And so, it was like, I was like, okay, here we go. But then next, Bethune-Cookman started coming back and then like it turned into like a fireworks display. And then FAMU got the kick return by Leroy Van, dude, to like put them up 38-14 before the half. It was a fireworks display, man. When I tell you it was a fireworks display, it was like just points everywhere. And so like one iconic moment that always will stick with me for that game was the halftime show where FAMU spelt out Obama on the field. And it was like, this was like a big deal and stuff, and then like they were on College Game Day the week before and stuff. Like it was just like a huge celebration and stuff, man. Like, honestly, I would say if you ever get the chance, go and look at that game. It's on YouTube. Really, the 2005 game's on YouTube too, but like, I'd say go back and look at those. They were something special. So your thoughts on that one?
About them spelling Obama? Big deal.
And now I'm going to take you to 2010. And I'm gonna tell you about the 2010 game. And honestly, too, like get ready because the 2010 game is the last game that FAMU won in this series so far. So Bethune-Cookman was undefeated, and they came into the game, and a lot of people figured, like that. A lot of us as fans figured, okay, well, if FAMU loses this game, it won't be a surprise. Bethune was undefeated. This has been like a heck of an effort. But FAMU came in like on a 6-game winning streak, or no, on a 5-game winning streak. This was going to be the 6th win. So FAMU comes out, they strike first, but then they find themselves down like 27-14 at the half, and then they come back out in the second half. They take out Bethune's quarterback. He goes down with a broken collarbone, and then they just rally on a whole bunch of unanswered points in the second half. And next thing you know, they win the game 38-27. They go for a 2-point conversion with like 2 minutes left to go in the game when they're already going to win the game. Like, it was the ultimate slap in the face, to be honest with you. Like, but that game is the last game FAMU won in the series. Like, since then, it's been all Bethune-Cookman. But I mean,
it still baffles me that FAMU actually had so many games that they could have won against Cookman. And it's like, what happened?
you know what? You want to know what? That is the thing that a lot of people ask. Like, even I get questions about that all the time. Like last year they came into the game 9-1, and it was like, you know what? They're supposed to win this game. And you're looking at it and you're thinking to yourself, like, based off of what you've seen all season, you're like, my God, like, I don't know how Bethune-Cookman can keep up with this offense. And, the defense is going to do a good enough job they're going to allow some points, but they're not going to allow some points late. And, next thing you know, like, Bethune had jumped out to like a 21-13 lead. And then FAMU cut it down to 20 points. Cut it down to, it was like 30. It was 21-20. And I'm just like, what's going on? Like, this should be like fourth quarter. This should be over. Like, run it a few times, run the clock out. This is over. But that wasn't the case. And like, I can honestly say, like, a lot of people put that game on the quarterback, Ryan Stanley. But my thing was this, like, if you go back and look at that game again, there's so many factors to that game that you can't just pin it on Ryan Stanley. You have a kicker that missed a 3-point try and that missed an extra point attempt. If he hits that game goes to overtime. And then you've got a defense that did not do a good job of stopping the run for really the last 2 Florida Classics. And you think to yourself, if only they'd stopped the run and didn't allow the Bethune-Cookman running backs to rush for over 100 yards, they win that game. So outside of Ryan Stanley's 3 turnovers in that last game last year, he's not the only one you place the blame upon. Does he deserve some of the blame for that? Even though he was the best player in HBCU football last year? Yeah, he deserves it. But does he deserve all of it? Like, is that game solely on him? No, not at all. Not at all. And I'll be the first one to say that. Because, I mean, like, look, that's just something we do here with this page. Like, you know how it goes. Like, we're going to tell you like it is. But we're also not going to say one man single-handedly lost that game.
Oh,
of course. Of course.
You don't do that.
But, yeah, there's a lot of games in this 9-game winning streak that I can honestly tell you, like, that I've sat down and seen with my own eyes that I figured that FAMU should have won those games. And I'm going to just leave it at this. I thought FAMU should have won the game in 2012. I thought FAMU should have won in 2014. I thought FAMU should have won in 2017. And I thought FAMU should have won in 2018 and 2019. I'm just going to leave it at that. Yep.
All right. I mean, we shall see whenever the next time they play.
Just true. I
Obviously,
mean, that'll be 2021. So, this time next, of
something
course.
to look forward to.
And if you can, like I said, put your money up. I'll bring you on over. I'll bring you over to I'll bring you over to Orlando. I'll let you really baptize yourself in this culture.
Yes, sir.
But, enough about that. On to the NBA. So, did you see the draft last night?
Yes, I
So, I got to know because you're the NBA expert here, or you're the supposed NBA expert here.
did.
How do you how do you feel about LaMelo
Go
Ball
on.
landing with Charlotte?
LeVar and MJ going
Honestly, I'm gonna be
1v1.
real with you. I want to see that. I want to see that happen.
I would pay money to see that. I
I just
would
want
pay
to see him
money.
get embarrassed because I know Michael will run points on him.
Yeah, it would be a fun. I mean, even MJ said he would
Of
beat him with one
course,
leg.
of course.
Okay, jokes aside, I do think Lamelo Ball is maybe what Charlotte Hornets need. I mean, could be a face of the franchise. Could sell a lot of could sell tickets when they open up again. Also, LeVar Ball actually used to play for the Carolina Panthers, so there's some
Right,
family
right.
roots there as well.
Now, do you think that Lamelo is better than Lonzo?
I could believe it, but it's going to take time for us to see it. But I think Lamelo is definitely a better scorer than
Okay,
Lonzo.
okay. I was just wondering because I mean, like a lot of people, I've seen a lot of people on social media saying like Lamelo's better than Lonzo. Lamelo's the truth. Like Lamelo's going to help turn that franchise around. I'm just like, we'll see. As long as his daddy keeps his mouth shut, we'll see.
His dad's been keeping his
Just
mouth
true
shut.
because he's not a Laker anymore.
Mm-mm. But I mean, his dad's been keeping his mouth shut. I mean, it looks like there isn't too much issues between the family and all that. It looks like his dad was genuinely happy for Lamelo to get into Charlotte. I mean, if MJ seems high on him, even after how much crap his dad did, I don't think. I think he was happy with that
Truth,
pick.
truth. And the other thing too was the
But
Knicks got Obi Toppin out of Dayton.
do you think Obi Toppin is the answer for the Knicks?
Hey, look, I said it last night on Twitter. Hopefully this sticks because y'all let Chris.
I think he'll be good on the Knicks, but I
He's
don't think
not.
he's
They
the
they
answer.
they need
Like
more
I
pieces
think,
to go with him and him and Kevin Knox.
assuming they still have
Yeah,
Kevin
see, that's true
Knox,
too. Like I mean,
assumingly.
it's just they need to find some stability. Honestly, like for me to really like get. They haven't found that stability since Ewing left. Like it's if they found some stability and could get a good cast of players to come to New York, then that that team could take off. Like if they found some way to keep Kevin, and then if they get Obi Toppin in there comfortable, and then if they had kept Kristaps Porzingis like Kevin wanted them to, then we might have something to talk about.
I think. I'm sorry, I was just reading something. Yeah, I think. I mean, the Knicks have a lot of cap space. They could sign some stars, but I don't know. I mean, they just waived Julius Randle. They waived Alfred Payton. They waived a bunch of guys, so they have the cap space. If they really want to like make a trade for a superstar or something, then they could do it. But I don't know what the Knicks want to do. That's the thing. Also, another thing is that what kind of like scares people away from the Knicks is Thibodeau. Like, he's a good coach and all, but at the same time, Thibodeau, like, he runs his starters to the ground, and that's a health concern, and it lacks
Right. I
development
agree
for
with
other
that. Now,
players.
that is something that they mentioned yesterday at the draft. So I was like, interesting.
I mean, like I do kind of fear Thibodeau is going to stun someone like Kevin Knox growth. That's what I
Hey,
do fear.
look, I've already said it a bunch of times. If I was Kevin, I'd be trying to find my way back to Florida.
Well, at least a team that's willing to develop. I mean, OKC, he could actually develop there too because they're really good at
See,
developing
well,
players.
that's one alternative too. So I mean, I'm with you there. Um, the other thing too was Anthony Edwards out of Georgia. He went number 1 overall to the Timberwolves. How you feel about that pick?
Talent wise, it's a good pick. Basketball wise, we got
Really?
questions. I
Explain.
got questions for the man. He doesn't seem he doesn't seem like he likes basketball like that. But he only did it because people told him he would be better at basketball. I I don't know. I just don't. He doesn't seem like he loves basketball. It seems like
Really?
I do think he's a bit overrated, and they did
Hmm.
overhype him a bit. But we shall see. We shall see. But I personally
So
didn't
in
think
your
he's that
honest
bad,
thoughts, do
to
you
be
think the
honest.
Timberwolves could have done better with the number 1 overall pick?
Honestly, man, I really do not know. I was not that hot on this year's draft class, but maybe that's because we're used to seeing Zion and Ja Morant and all those people from that last year's class. Maybe it's because of that, but I really don't see a whole bunch of people booming into stars or superstars in this draft class. Maybe LaMelo, Cole Anthony, that one dude from Kentucky. Not the first Kentucky guy, the second one. I think those are going to be
Mm,
some good players. But I can't
hmm
speak for the others.
Now, do you think the fact that we didn't see the NCAA tournament this past year had something to do with that?
I could definitely see it. But I mean, in all honesty though, like I mean, there wasn't like a whole lot of trades being done for these people, you know? Like people weren't desperate
That's
for these
true.
guys. I mean, who got traded? Ricky Rubio? No, like Ricky Rubio is a solid player and all, but you didn't see someone that got moved like a Jimmy Butler or
Hmm
something. You know, like back in that 1 year draft class when the Timberwolves traded Lauri Markkanen for Jimmy Butler
hmm
and stuff. You know, not like there wasn't a whole bunch of trades of
Right.
that kind of
Right.
stuff.
Um, one final-
But I do like the pick for
I was just about
Orlando
to
and
say
Cole Anthony.
Cole Anthony.
He's
Cole Anthony
I
out of the
love
University
that
of
pick.
North Carolina is with the
He's
Magic.
I think him and Markel could be fresh, but at the same time,
I'm
I
thinking
don't know.
about
Two
that
point
whole.
guards.
I'm thinking about that whole
I
setup.
don't
Like
know.
I'm thinking like Aaron Gordon, Jonathan Isaac when Jonathan Isaac gets healthy, and then you got Cole Anthony and Markel Fultz. Like those 4 right there. That's it right there. That does it.
I'll get him in the second round
Wait, who'd they get
for
in the
sure.
second round?
They should. Nah. No, I mean like second
Oh
round, like
yeah.
second round of the
Oh okay.
playoffs.
Okay. I feel. You. I feel. You. Yeah. I agree.
Assuming there's better
I agree with
teams.
you. I've like. I mean, to me, with Orlando, I feel like it depends on who they play. Like if they can be a team that doesn't end up having to play the number 1 seed. Like say if they play like maybe I don't know, like the 5 seed or the 3 seed, their chances are greater.
It all depends on the
Right.
team, though. That's the thing. I mean, honestly, they were close to exposing
Correct.
Milwaukee, and Milwaukee doesn't seem like that hot of a
Tis
team in the
true.
playoffs.
Tis true. Fair statements. I like it.
We got to think about it, but I think we'll just see. Anyways, NBA free agency starts
I figured that
tomorrow
already started
afternoon.
because of the Chris Paul deal, but you said it
No.
starts tomorrow. So on November 20th.
Free agency. People could get traded right now, but the free agency it starts tomorrow. I think it starts in the afternoon.
Okay.
As
Ooh.
well.
See, so this should be interesting then. So I guess we're going to finally find out whether ditching that $50 million was worth it by James Harden.
Let me look.
Because the one thing I said a few days ago, earlier in the week, to a friend of mine was, it's one thing to say that you want to go somewhere, but the place you want to go, they have to want you too. You can't just say, you can't just say I want to go here and expect to go there. So like Brooklyn has to want him at the same time.
Brooklyn wanted him. They offered a lot, but I think Houston didn't like the offer they had for him. But who knows? These are some sources that I'm not even too high on.
Look, it's
myself, but
look, man, it's 2020.
We will see.
Exactly.
You don't know. I saw a source that said that that Brooklyn wanted to give out like a whole damn, I don't know, like probably 3 or 4 guys are Harden, but Houston said no, he's worth a lot more than that. So speaking of Houston Rockets, we need to talk about their owner, Tillman Fertitta.
Go ahead and go off.
I think that's like, where should I start, man? I think we should start with that. Houston selling the team to Mr. Fertitta is the worst decision they ever made. In many ways, number one, he's obviously cheap, but I've recently discovered that Tillman Fertitta, or whatever the hell his name is,
I believe
right?
so. I believe so.
Tillman Fertitta, that man. A lot of players don't like him. It's clear.
Yeah, Tillman Fertitta.
A lot
That's
of players
his name.
don't like him. Tillman Fertitta. He doesn't. His players don't like him, and here's why. His players, Tillman Fertitta had some strong conservative backgrounds, and conservative. Okay, yeah, but he donated a lot of money to Donald Trump's victory fund, if I'm not mistaken. He has donated a lot of money towards his campaign, and that speaks volumes to a lot of players in the NBA, by far. Let me get the exact figure, but
oh wow, yeah, you're right, because it's right here. Wow, that article actually just dropped by TMZ and Sports Yahoo a few days ago.
Fox News even put it out too. So Tillman Fertitta donated about $35,000 to the Trump victory campaign, and another 35. Okay, like 35 to RNC and 35 National Republican Senatorial Committee. I mean, that's one thing, but 35,000 to Donald Trump and stuff, that speaks a lot by itself, because we've seen the polarizing comments Donald Trump has made out to everyone and what Donald Trump stands for. It's not a good look when you have a team full of not a team. Let me put this in the right way so no one could bash me.
Go ahead.
Because yeah, but putting that kind of money for a man that did not denounce racism and police brutality and all that, and condone and not condone, but supported it, I think that's a bad look for a league that the majority of his players are African American. That's a terrible look. And most Houston Rockets guys, I mean, we've seen the memes already. Most of them are. You've seen the meme, that one Family Guy meme that has the lighter shades of color. Maverick
yeah,
shades.
Yeah. I saw that. Why? I feel that.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, it's a bad look, Tillman Fertitta. You should not that you lost a lot of players' trust. You lost a lot of people within the organization trust. I mean, maybe that's why Daryl Morey and Mike D'Antoni might have left without you actually having to fire them. Just think of that.
Interesting. But let's go on ahead now before we get out of here tonight and swing on over to the NFL. So I believe you've already heard it as well. The first African American officiating crew will call the Bucks versus Rams Monday night game coming up here in a few days. I like it. Jerome Boger is going to be the head official, and I'm proud to see this. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, but hopefully there's no
It's about time.
There's no, I don't want to say pitfalls, but hopefully there's no like mistakes out of this crew. I'd like to see them call it clean and down the middle and get every call right.
Oh yeah, you got
now.
to
Granted,
do it right. It's because just
granted. Go ahead.
Especially with like.
Oh no, I was gonna say like now. Granted, they're officials, then they're human. They won't get everything right, but do the best you can and make sure you go for it.
Don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't blow big calls. Because the amount of hype this is getting, which it rightfully deserves. So, if something goes wrong, you're gonna have some of those white folks get angry, and do like, oh no, our team got BS.
Correct. So, and one interesting thing about that. So I'm gonna blow your mind here again with another Florida Classic fact. And it's ironic that this happens. This almost never really happens. So Jerome Boger, who is actually going to be calling this game on Monday night between the Bucks and the Rams. So he's an HBCU grad. He went to he went to Morehouse. And ironic enough, he got his feet wet calling or officiating games in the MEAC. So Jerome Boger actually called the 2001 Florida Classic between FAMU and Bethune-Cookman. How crazy is that? Fast forward 20 years, and exactly, and now he's an NFL official. And all I got to say is kudos to Jerome Boger. Like that's the definition of working your way up. For real.
Big steps, man. Big steps.
And the other thing is Christian McCaffrey's out with a shoulder injury this week. So fantasy owners, be aware. Don't start Christian McCaffrey. Go ahead and leave him on your bench. But now my thing is, look, they shouldn't have put Christian McCaffrey back in with the load like that he had. I felt they should have easily worked him in. Like most of the snaps, 70% of the snaps still should have gone to Mike Davis. But no. They wanted to work Christian McCaffrey. He was balling, but at what cost? At what cost? Exactly, because now you're missing him for a prolonged period of time versus you could have got him back last week. Or you could have had him last week.
Against a critical
exactly. Game. Like if he's on the field, he has a significant impact on that game. But hey, you know what? Look, that's up to Matt Rule. That's up to Matt Rule. Get it.
Back to the NBA for 1 second. I am loving seeing Rockets fans telling Fareed to sell his team every time he posts on Twitter. It's a beautiful sight to see. He does not deserve that organization whatsoever. I got a feel for those Houston fans though. Was that former GM of the Texans? What's his name?
All I know is I believe what's his name was the GM at one point. Bill O'Brien. Yeah, he was a GM and head coach.
Bill O'Brien, that's his name. I feel so bad for Houston fans right now. Houston Rockets are about to see the same thing what Bill O'Brien did to the Texans. And they're still living off the shame with the Astros.
Hey, they'll get over it. They'll be fine. It ain't my team.
It ain't my team, but damn, it's gonna be like what, at least 10 years.
I wouldn't say 10 years.
Success again.
It's not gonna be an overnight fix, but it won't be 10 years either.
Okay, but you know what? Maybe the Houston, Texas, and the Astros will be all right, but not the Rockets.
Hey, we'll see. Right. We'll see. But another thing too, and this will be the last thing, and then we'll get out of here for tonight. The second opinion from Drew Brees confirmed that Drew Brees did in fact fracture 4 ribs, and he has a collapsed lung. So the original diagnosis turns out to be true. So people are saying that some are speculating that this will be a 2-week thing. My thing is like this, like, dude, you got 4 fractured ribs and a collapsed lung. I don't see you coming back in 2 weeks at 100%. Exactly.
Not at 100%, no. He could play, but
exactly. And
I don't know.
That your respiratory system is a huge part of your function as a human being. I'm not rushing Drew Brees at the age he is back into the fold. When you've got Jameis Winston, who might be ready, I want to see it. I really do. Because part of me is like, either this is going to take off and a lot of Bucs fans are going to be pissed, or this is not going to work out, and the Bucs are going to slowly take back control of the NFC South. And Bucs fans will rejoice. It's going to be one of the two. So we shall see. Sean Payton brought him in for a reason. This is it. Yeah.
Well, let's see. I mean, I'm excited for Jameis. Let's see.
The Saints play the Falcons this weekend. So they play the Falcons. They play the Falcons twice in the span of 3 weeks. And they also play the Broncos in between those 2 games.
They should win.
Yeah, exactly. They should win all 3.
To be honest. I mean, I don't think Jameis is going to throw away games. I think he also has better.
Oh, of course, yeah. That's my key factor is, you know, he's got better coaches around him that are actually going to work to his strengths. Like Sean Payton's not stupid. I know a lot of people give Sean Payton a lot of crap, but Sean Payton is not a dumb man. He obviously saw something in Jameis to bring him in, and a lot of people.
I mean, if the Saints won with Teddy Bridgewater as their quarterback, not knocking against Teddy Bridgewater, but he ain't Drew Brees. If they won that many games with him, I think they should be just fine with Jameis. If anything, Jameis might be better at throwing the ball.
Exactly. And I told someone else this a few days ago. Someone was like, Jameis didn't play well, though. He had so many sacks and all this stuff. I'm like, look, pause. Exactly.
You can't blame sacks on Jameis Winston. You can't.
Like I'm talking about even like last weekend for the Saints against the 49ers. Like, look, Jameis went into a horrible. We went into a rough situation where he had to react quickly and all this stuff. But now we're going to see what it looks like when he's got time to prepare for an opponent. And he's got time to prepare for an opponent that's not all that, but it's pretty decent. The Falcons are kind of tricky in division games, but he's got time to prepare now. So we'll see what happens then. Make your criticisms after he starts the game. That's my thing.
I believe in Jameis. I believe in him. I mean, no, not as bad as the O-line, so he will have time to throw the ball, I think, properly. He might get a pick here and there.
Exactly. The ultimate thing is, with him being a backup now, can he win these games? And that's going to be my main takeaway. Did he win the games?
That's
Exactly.
all they need him to do. Win the game.
Exactly.
Throw the ball. I mean, they still have Alvin Kamara to run the ball. Their receivers is looking pretty decent.
Yeah.
If you ask me, I think they should be fine.
Most definitely.
We'll see though.
Yes,
We'll talk
sir.
about this next week.
But that's
sure.
going to do it for.
As of right now, Seahawks up against the Cardinals, 16-7. You think?
I think they will. I think they will. Seattle should. I truly believe. I truly believe
in Seahawks.
Oh yeah.
Especially with the backs against the wall.
I truly believe that like whoever like won the first game wasn't going to win the second game. But like I said, Russell Wilson and company, they're playing better this time around versus the last time. They've got a better approach to this. So, like I said, exactly. Like Russell Wilson's playing a little bit better this time around. So, like I said,
he doesn't need to try too hard. He just gotta take his time with his placement.
So I think they'll be okay this time around, and we'll see where we go from there. For the Seahawks' sake, if I'm a Seahawks fan, because this is like a 3-way tie for first right now, I'm rooting for the Bucks. And then I'm rooting for the Bucks on Monday night to beat the Rams. If I'm a Seahawks fan. Yep. So when you send your NFL picks in tomorrow or Saturday, make sure you're on the Bucks end of things, rooting for the Bucks to beat the Rams. It's okay. I won't tell nobody, although the whole world's kind of listening right now.
Well, I mean, they're already going
to true.
Pick regardless. I mean, if you want my early prediction, I think the Buccaneers are going to win. Right? And also, to be honest, I kind of knew Seattle was going to lose that first game against the Rams. It's just they always manage to drop a game against the Rams. No matter, even when they were the St. Louis Rams, it just happens. I would not stress too much about it.
But that's going to do it for us tonight, folks. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Run and Gun Podcast. I'm JPeeps. That's Flash over there. If you have not already, make sure you follow us on Facebook at Penalty Talk. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at Penalty Talk. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at Throw Flags. But you can still find us on Instagram at Penalty Talk as well. Make sure you listen to us on Spotify, and also like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. One final thing, Flash, you got anything before we get out of here for the night?
Got nothing new. I think all the business is going to be popping within the next week.
Okay, fair enough. My closing thoughts, just, dang, I really wish I was at the Florida Classic this weekend. That's all I can say. I'm really like missing this weekend. Y'all don't understand. I'm watching old games and stuff. Like it's crazy. It's crazy. That's all I can really say. I'm watching old games and I'm anticipating what next season's gonna look like in the SWAC, and then like just what the Florida Classic's gonna look like next year. So we'll see what happens. I'm missing it though. Golly. But as always, y'all stay safe, y'all stay blessed. We'll see you on the next episode.